What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Sportchaser. On this podcast, there are two things I want to talk about, and they're both related to the NBA draft. The two things I'm talking about is how this draft class compares to some of the greatest of all time, such as the 1984 draft class, the 1996, and the 2003 draft class. And also, who are some of the biggest winners of this draft class? And I'm saying this based off of value of their pick and not necessarily who they chose. So with that being said, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's get right into this. The first thing I want to talk about in this podcast is how this draft class compares to some of the greatest draft classes of all time. In this draft class, we see players like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, three players who in the last 8 years I believe could have been number one overall picks. There is one time in the last 8 years that a player picked number one I believe still would have stayed number one if any of those three were put into that draft class. And that one being 2019 was Zion Williamson. Coming out of Duke, Zion Williamson was a force to be reckoned with. I'm not even going to contest the fact that Cade Cunningham would have gone number one because I don't think Cade Cunningham would have gone number one over Zion Williamson. But what I do think is that in 2013 to 2020, every single first-round pick, aside from Zion Williamson, would not have been the first overall pick if you put any of them in this draft class. So, that being said, some of those consist of Karl Anthony Towns, Ben Simmons, and DeAndre Ayton. Those are the three most notable from those 8 years, and I don't think any of those would have gone number one over the top three in this draft class. DeAndre Ayton, very comparable to Evan Mobley. I believe Evan Mobley has more superstar potential from when DeAndre Ayton was coming out of college, and Jalen Green and both Cade Cunningham, I believe, also would have gone over DeAndre Ayton. Ben Simmons, a great player, don't get me wrong, coming out of LSU, there were some injury issues as he didn't even play his first year, and for that reason, and a couple others, such as the fact that Ben Simmons still can't shoot, I believe that any of the top three would have gone over Ben Simmons, and same with Karl Anthony Towns, who is very comparable to Evan Mobley as well, and I believe that Evan Mobley is still a better player than Karl Anthony Towns. So with that being said, the fact that this draft class, in my opinion, has three first overall picks, how does it compare to some of the greatest of all time? Some of the draft classes that I would think are the greatest of all time, 1984 draft, Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, and the list goes on. 2003 draft class, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. The list also goes on. And the most deep out of the top three, in my opinion, the 1996 draft, Steve Nash, Allen Iverson, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, and an even deeper list goes on. And I believe that those are the top three for now, and only time will tell how close this 2021 draft class with three first overall picks, in my opinion, will compare to those greatest of all times. So while yes, only time will tell, I don't believe this draft class will ever be the greatest of all time. I don't think that there will ever be a draft class that has four top five players at their position of all time, as the 1984 draft class does with Jordan, Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, and John Stockton. But that being said, this draft class does have the potential to be better than the 2003 draft class just because of the fact that this top three has the potential to be great, and this class is very loaded deep down the line. And for that reason, I think this draft class has potential, but I don't think it will ever be the greatest of all time. And the second and final thing I want to talk about in this podcast is my two massive winners of this draft. As I mentioned previously, this draft class is absolutely loaded, so there are so many winners. The Detroit Pistons got Cade Cunningham and Luka Garza, two huge players for their roster. The Houston Rockets got Jalen Green, Usman Garuba, who I absolutely love for them coming out of Spain. And obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers got Evan Mobley. And the reason that I'm choosing this first team is, the first team I'm choosing as my big winner is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Originally, I didn't have them on this list, and I know this may be surprising to many people, but Evan Mobley is a tremendous superstar potential player. Evan Mobley has the potential to be one of the greatest centers in the NBA in a league that has very heavily become a guards league. Evan Mobley has the potential to win Defensive Player of the Years, win possibly even MVPs, as Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic have proven that big men can still run the league. Evan Mobley, I believe, will be a force to be reckoned with for years to come, and I love this for the Cavs. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they have Darius Garland, they have Colin Sexton. Whether or not they choose to keep Sexton longer, that's up to them. But if they trade away Colin Sexton, the assets they get proves that this Cleveland Cavaliers team come 4 years will be a huge force to be reckoned with. And for that reason, I have the selection at number 3 with Evan Mobley being the reason that this Cleveland Cavaliers team is one of the big winners of this draft class. And the biggest winner is no surprise at all, the Golden State Warriors. Coming into this draft, many people didn't even think that the Golden State Warriors would select their number 7 or 14 pick, as there were a lot of talks about the Golden State Warriors making a trade. But I think that they got more value in the draft than they could have hoped for. Jonathan Kuminga falling to them at 7 was a surprise, but it wasn't a huge surprise. The big surprise was Josh Giddey going 6 to the Thunder. But in my opinion, Jonathan Kuminga has the potential to be great while he's not on the same timeline as Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. Jonathan Kuminga has the potential to be a superstar in the league. Defensively, he's great. He's not an on-ball. He doesn't need the ball in order to be a productive player, and that's exactly what the Warriors needed. A player who doesn't need the ball in his hands to win. And for that reason, I think even if Jonathan Kuminga stays on the Warriors, he will be a huge asset to the Golden State Warriors. Offensively, he is not a tremendous shooter, but he can get to the rim and he is athletic. Defensively, he brings that perimeter defense. He can almost guard all 5 positions, and that's exactly what the Golden State Warriors need. Their defense wasn't the greatest thing in the world for them, especially their interior defense. And Jonathan Kuminga, while he is undersized to play against some centers, he is a phenomenal defensive talent. And also, Moses Moody, tremendous player to come off the bench. As a Wizards fan, I was a little upset because I really wanted Moses Moody after we traded away Russell Westbrook. But I'm very happy with Corey Kispert, so don't get me wrong with that. But for the Golden State Warriors, Moses Moody is a perfect player to learn under Steph Curry, learn under Klay Thompson, work on his shooting and his playmaking, and also come off the bench and provide some helpful bench minutes for the Golden State Warriors. Him and Jordan Poole will definitely be a great 1-2 punch off the bench. And Jonathan Kuminga, whether any of them get traded, James Wiseman, you can literally, as a Golden State Warriors, you can add so many different pieces together and make a tremendous package for maybe a Damian Lillard or some sort of player who's on the same timeline as Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I can't wait to see what the Warriors do. I'm excited for them. Basically, every single player in this draft, I believe, could have the potential to be great in this league at their own positions, whether that be a great role player, a great starter, a great all-star, maybe even an MVP for a couple players. And that being said, this draft class, there's a ton of winners. Pretty much all 30 teams in the NBA are winners if you had a draft pick. With that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you so much for tuning into this video. If you did, please drop a like on the video and also subscribe if you are new. At 100 subscribers, I will be hosting a giveaway, and this giveaway will be a $20 gift card to any place of your choice. I will buy it for you and I will send it down to you. So if you are a subscriber already, please comment down below "done" and also let 5 friends know so that maybe they can win a giveaway. Also, if you are new, please subscribe and tell a couple friends. I will be hosting that giveaway once I hit 100 subscribers, however soon that may be. So with that being said, thank you all so much. I'll see you all next time. Peace.